This is a Yarbo Robot Lawnmower, and here are my thoughts after using it for the first month. Before we get diving into this video, I do want to warn you, there are a lot of boxes that come with this mower. This Yarbo yard machine and mower kit came with 5 boxes and they are heavy. Just a fair warning that it will take a decent amount of time to unbox everything, put things together, because this is not ready out of the box like some other robot mowers that you may be used to. It's going to take some time to unbox the core, the base station, the data center, and the mower and get it all put together. The battery for this machine is quite impressive. It's big, it's heavy, and it lasts a long time. Once you open up the battery compartment, first you have to remove a remote control that looks identical to an Xbox controller. This can be used to drive around the core unit, or you can do it within the Yarbo app. Once the battery is installed, you can use that remote control and drive the core unit right out of the box. This is over 100 pounds, so I don't think you want to try lifting this one. Now, I don't want to bore you guys too much with the step-by-step instructions, as I want this to be more of a review video than a tutorial, but make sure you get all the antennas and stuff installed on the core unit, and then we can move on to the charging base station. This base station is pretty cool in my opinion, because unlike other robot mowers that I've used in the past, this actually uses wireless charging technology. So all you have to do is have the unit on docking station and it will charge wirelessly. The issue that I had with this base station is that this is where I typically put all my other previous robot lawnmowers, but I actually had to move it from this location out into the grass because I could not get a good enough GPS signal from this area. So that's one thing that kind of didn't like, is that I had to move this out into my grass, out into the open more, in order to get that GPS signal. But install was super easy. Came with these big screws to put it into the ground to anchor it down. Take the power cable and run it around the back of my bushes right into the actual docking station itself. I then drove the core unit up onto the charging station to let the battery charge a little bit while I completed all the other tasks. Now on to the installation of the data center, which in my opinion is the biggest pain point with this Yarbo machine. This data center must be connected to the internet via Ethernet cable, which can be kind of difficult because this unit has to be out in the wide open to receive satellite signal, yet have a cable run to somewhere with an Ethernet connection, which most of the time is inside of your house. Lucky for me, I have a nice wireless mesh internet system with one main hub inside of my house with a bunch of other access points throughout my house. So I purchased an outdoor unit that can actually withstand the elements, and I installed this into my garage so I could run the Ethernet cable into the garage and plug it in for Ethernet access. All other robot mowers that I've ever used just use Wi-Fi signal. I can understand the reliability of Ethernet, but at the same time, this was quite the pain point, and I'm sure for a lot of people, this could be a deal breaker. Originally, I tried to install the access point on the side of my house, but I couldn't get enough satellite signals over there, so I ended up installing it on the front of my garage so it could see over the top of my roof, and satellite signals were good, so we're moving on. I then hooked up the mower module. This just took a couple minutes to get figured out. This goes on the same way as all the other modules. As of right now, they have a mower, a snow blower, a string trimmer, and also a blower attachment. Hoping to get the snow blower for the winter to try that one out, but for now, get this mower attachment hooked on, get the cover on, and let's get rolling. I honestly feel like I underestimated the size of this entire thing. This thing is so much bigger in person than I ever gave it credit for. But let me talk to you in person real quick about this next part. At this point, I was just ready to get this thing mowing. I wanted to map out the lawn, get this thing sent on its maiden voyage, and watch it do its thing. But it was telling me that I first had to connect it to the internet, which it was. I looked in the app. The app said it was connected to the internet. I went on my Wi-Fi app. It says it was connected to the internet. And it would not let me map the yard without doing a firmware update, which said it would do as soon as it was connected to the internet. So at that point, I called the number on the back of the unit, talked to support. They were great. They manually updated the firmware within about 2 days for me, and I got a notification when it was done. At that point, I went out to the unit. It looked like the firmware had been updated, but now it wasn't recognizing that the mower module was even attached at this point. So I once again called the service and I talked to them. They couldn't really figure out what was going on. I also was having at that point a power failure internal power failure error. And so they said, there's something critically wrong with your core unit. We need to have you send that back and we'll send you a new one. So here I am about a week into this process, still haven't mowed the lawn yet, and now they're sending me a unit and I have to use that box to send this default or faulty unit back. Of course, the day that the unit showed up, I went and I checked my current unit that I have, and it seemed to be working fine. So I called support again. They said, we still want you to swap it out, yada, yada, yada. So it took about 15 minutes to swap out the units, and at that point, everything was good. Internet was connected, the mower module was hooked up and good to go. I was finally able to map out the lawn and get mowing. As much of a headache as it was to deal with all this support, they were great. I have to give them credit. They answered the phone right away. They answered my questions right away. And they were very responsive with email communication as well. Once the new unit was all hooked up and ready to go, I was finally able to map out the entire lawn and get mowing. The mapping process is really painless. It's a no-dig system, just like a lot of others on the market today. You just drive it around the perimeter. Once you complete the perimeter, it completes the map. At that point, you can make no-go zones. So I made a no-go zone around this tree ring, which I ended up taking out of the map completely eventually because I realized this is a very tight area and this big bulky mower just doesn't do the greatest in tight spaces. Now that I've been using the Yarbo mower for more than a month now, I can honestly say that I'm really impressed. The cut quality is good. The stripes that this thing makes are next level compared to any other robot that I've seen. The cutting width and speed are amazing. It gets my yard done super quick and it hardly drains any battery. You can really tell that this mower is made for large properties. However, when it goes to do its perimeter passes, it always goes in a straight line across the lawn in a different direction of what it's mowing and just kind of sticks out like a sore thumb when you're all done and ruins the stripes. I have made two areas for my lawn, a front area and a side area, and I made a channel from the front to the side for it to get back and forth to the docking station each time. I typically have it mow both the front and the side at the same time, and when it's all done, it scurries back across the driveway and goes back to its docking station to charge.
Ready to charge.
Overall, I do recommend the Yarbo lawnmower. I'm very happy with it so far. It's performing exactly how it should be once we get all the kinks worked out. I would have to say that I would recommend it for larger properties and not so much smaller properties, as it doesn't do well in small areas. The battery life, the cutting width, and the speed of this thing is more suitable for large lawns, and I'm excited to hopefully try it out in a future lawn where it's a lot larger. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.